5, 4,
Ignition.
3, 2, 1. Vehicle.
We know that the space exploration industry is growing rapidly, but to what extent? In this video, I'm going to be going over how Rocket Lab has the power to obtain a good portion of this total addressable space market that's estimated to grow to more than $1 trillion in revenue by 2030 and 2040. Now, being one of only 2 companies, along with SpaceX, that's delivered reliable and regular access to low orbit, the question is, how big can Rocket Lab get moving forward in 2021 and beyond? Now, the reality is everyone has their own unique method of determining a company of its true value, but in this video, I'll be going through a 7-step framework that researches all aspects of the current data I personally could find, and if you feel I'm moving too fast, I timestamped everything and put it down below in the description for you, so we have a lot to go over, starting with the overview, so let's get started. Rocket Lab is an aerospace company founded with the sole idea to cater to the growing requirement within the international market for fast, low-cost methods of delivering payloads to space. Now, in the past, small satellites faced costly delays when flying rideshare on the large rockets due to the low launch frequency, and more than 50% of small satellites in the past had a costly delay from 4 months to 2 years. So here's how Rocket Lab is providing a solution to clients with the ability to launch on demand. With the customers able to control their launch time to the second, this proven track record of success is why Rocket Lab is winning contracts and growing as fast as the data shows, but I'll get more into that in the catalyst of the framework later on. Now, in the last 6 years, they've been able to launch 18 times to space with 97 satellites deployed to orbit. Along with many other accomplishments, they've also been able to be the second most launched rocket in the United States and 4th most global launcher, only being behind China, Russia, and SpaceX. With this growth comes high-end customers, and from an investor standpoint, the revenue is not reliant on one source, nor business, nor industry. They have customers split into 50% commercial, 20% civil, 30% defense, which offers a diversification I believe every business should be looking for. It's an attractive business model with the ability to launch on demand. They've been able to master this method and coexist alongside SpaceX, so it's a very admirable, and I expect future growth to be just as good. With a current share price of $10.99, they're expected to merge sometime in Q2, but here's what the CEO had to say about going public via SPAC and not a traditional IPO.
So why go public now and why go public via SPAC?
Yeah, look, I mean, we're super excited to bring to the market a really high quality space asset. And, Rocket Lab has a long history of execution with over 97 satellites delivered on orbit, even some of our own spacecraft on orbit. And, we're on a slow but methodical path to an IPO, but we chose a SPAC path to really accelerate our vision and our goals here. And, we have obviously a very stable launch business with strong revenues, but we're looking to really take it to the next level. And, having access to public capital enables us to embark on the next program, which is a very large launch vehicle. And also gives us a public currency to do some of the M&A that we really want to do. And we've had a really successful acquisition already, and we're looking forward to doing that in much greater vigor to really build out a pure play end-to-end space company.
To understand the long-term vision, we have to understand what they already accomplished. The Electron rocket was designed for reliability with small space travel, but it's only the beginning. The market needs a Constellation launcher, and that requires a medium launch rocket. And by 2028, it's expected 83% of small satellites will be launched as Constellation, and a medium rocket is mandatory. There's currently no commercial medium lift class launch vehicle supplying this current demand, and this is where the long-term vision comes in. A complete new rocket identity, the Neutron, tailored for commercial Constellation missions and capable of human space flight. They will be able to help 98% of all satellites forecasted to launch through to 2029, with ability again to launch on repeat. The Neutron is forecasted to be finished by 2024. Peter Beck, the CEO, was quoted saying, Rocket Lab has solved small launch with Electron, now we're unlocking a new category with the Neutron. We've listened to our customers and the message is clear. Biggest doesn't always necessarily mean best when it comes to constellation deployment. Efficiently building the mega constellation of the future requires launching multiple satellites to different orbital planes, and it's a requirement that all too often see large launch vehicles fly with payloads well below their full capacity, which is an incredibly expensive and inefficient way to build out a satellite constellation. However, the Neutron will also be providing a dedicated service to orbit for larger civil, defense, and commercial payloads that need a level of schedule control and high flight cadence not really available on large and heavy lift rockets. With future interplanetary missions, such as being awarded NASA mission to the moon, searching Venus for signs of life, and 2024 the launch to Mars with a Photon to study the atmosphere, this company has big goals, but let's dive into the catalyst now. On February 24th of 2021, Rocket Lab signed the contract to launch General Atomics Orbital Test Bed satellite. This launch is set to happen late 2021 or early 2022. However, I wasn't able to find how much this contract was actually worth, so I'll reevaluate for you guys when I see the balance sheet in the future for this exact contract. Or maybe it gets announced later on, I'm not too sure. Secondly, one of my favorite SPACs, Black Sky, announced in March, Rocket Lab won the contract to launch 8 more satellites in 2021, with Brian O'Toole, the CEO, saying the 8 satellites were planned to launch in 2022, but the company decided to speed things up, quoting, "We had an opportunity to align our satellite production with Rocket Lab, and it allows us to accelerate our program, and I wasn't able to find the value of this one either as well." So let's dive into the current financials. With a valuation of $4.1 billion being based off of 5.4x revenue of $749 million on their projected 2025 earnings, some people have mentioned overvalued, but the data shows that the merger will also result in $745 million of cash to the balance sheet to execute their business goals. And I understand 2020 revenue wasn't great at $35 million, but due to Rona, I understand the circumstances. However, they're reporting this year they will be able to double it at $69 million, with an average projected growth rate being conservative at 69% year over year, now ending 2027 with an estimate revenue of $1.5 billion. Taking into effect the long-term business and relationships they've been able to build and an active pipeline of $2.2 billion, they're incredibly excited for the long term, and as they should be. And I would say this is very undervalued if you can be patient. Now, one of the most important aspects I like to study in a stock is the management, so let's dive into that. Meet Peter Beck, the CEO and founder who's been with Rocket Lab since the start in 2006. Before Rocket Lab, he was researching and offering market development in the international space industry. His qualifications include award-winning engineer, and he has accumulated quite a few achievements for this innovation breakthrough, leading to significant commercial success. Overall, this is everything you should be looking for in management. He's been here for term, he's been here for scale, and he's also an engineer, and it's always been bullish to bet on the engineers. From an institutional level, this has everything you should be looking for. 39% is owned by institution, 30% to the general public, 20% to venture capital and private equity, and 10% in hedge funds. With the likes of Vector Capital, who's currently holding 20%, Glazer Capital at 5%. However, I do know there's no huge name like ARK Invest, and I was a little surprised they didn't announce it in the space ETF, but it could be multiple factors like SPACs getting attacked and they don't kind of want that volatility in the ETF. So we'll see how it plays out when the ticker changes and a balance sheet gets reported. But on an insider level, there's absolutely no selling nor buying. So it's neutral on that point, no red flags. Concluding this video and everything this company has going for it, the accelerated growth rate of over 68% over the next 6 years, the space industry set to grow to over $1 trillion by 2030, 2040. Rocket Labs is in the position to leverage the Electron, the Neutron, the Photon, to unlock a good portion of this growing market, along with the strong management in Peter Beck, the high revenue projection, with a pipeline of $2.2 billion. This shows that this is one of the best space assets going public you can currently invest in. Lastly, looking at the 3-month chart, this shows extreme volatility, and I understand you may be concerned, but there's recently been a tough few weeks for all growth stocks, and this isn't any different. This stock is set to go much higher than the current 11s, with a present moving day average for the past 50 days with only 9%. This is a present buying opportunity for the short term and long term. This has been getting attacked because it's a SPAC. As soon as the ticker changes, if you're short term, you'll be up. If you're long term, I expect 50 PT, but that's my personal opinion. But the data is kind of showing that in a sense as well, with the projection, the revenue, the growth, the contracts, and so on. So thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.